Does someone mind saying something before we get started, just to make sure I can hear everyone?
Can you hear us? Perfect.
Yes, I can. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll unmute. Hi, good evening or good afternoon, everybody. It sounds like we're still getting some information up and onto our website. So if everybody's okay with us starting in about 3 minutes, I'm gonna wait for Ms. Shope to tell me we're good to go. Then we're gonna call the meeting to order and we're gonna take, I guess we'll just kind of go in order of people who are here, people who are on the phone, people who are email, and we'll just kind of go from there. Is everybody cool with that? Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for being here. So for those just tuning in, we're just waiting for the link to work correctly on our website so that everybody who wants to tune in is able to. So thanks for your patience, and we will get started shortly. All right, it sounds like we have confirmed that our meeting links are operational, so everybody who wants to tune in should be able to do so. So at this time, I'd like to please call this meeting to order. The time is 2:08, and I would like to welcome everybody. I just want to start by saying thank you, everyone, for taking the time out of your weekend to join us. It is important for us to hear as many perspectives and information possible to make a choice that is best for kids here in our Beloit community. I look forward to hearing from everyone. Because we are conducting this public hearing today, comments are somewhat limited on Tuesday, January 26th at that meeting. But please do feel free to reach out at any time to the board. You can reach us at Board of Education, all one word, at sdb for School District Beloit.k12.wi.us. Anybody who'd like to submit a public comment to be read aloud in the limited time that we've allocated for Tuesday, they can send that to us after the meeting tonight, and we will try to get all those in that we can on Tuesday, and that email address is public-comment at sdb schooldistrictbeloit.k12.wi.us. All right, so with that said, Ms. Shope is going to let us know kind of the order of who arrived or called in first, and we're going to start with a comment from somebody who's here joining us today at COLAC. So who would like to begin?
The first person I have is Joe Oberneter.
Thank you very much. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot. Actually, before we get started, I'm just going to quick read the norms. Sorry. No, but you can come on up. You're fine. You're fine. So just real quick, norms for public comments during board meetings. Citizens are welcome to attend all open meetings of the Board of Education. Robert's Rules of Order will be followed at all times. Persons attending board meetings are expected to conduct themselves in a respectful and courteous manner that models appropriate behavior for our students. Persons wishing to comment are expected to comply with the following norms in order to maintain a respectful and ordered meeting and to protect all persons, including members of the public, district employees, and district students, from personal attacks or a discussion of confidential matters in a public forum. Comments should be directed at to members of the Board of Education and not district employees, students, or other members of the public in attendance at the meeting. Comments that attack any individual personally or professionally or are derogatory or demean others will not be tolerated. Personnel matters or concerns regarding specific district personnel are not appropriate topics to be addressed during an open meeting and should be handled in accordance with district policy and procedures. Concerns or questions regarding students will not be allowed. Comments regarding another individual's membership in a legally protected class, i.e. race, sexual orientation, religion, etc., is strictly prohibited. Response from the board will be limited to clarifying inaccurate information, seeking additional information from the citizen, or acknowledging that the citizen has been understood. The board will not debate with the citizen, and the board may not take action on an item raised during public comment that is not on the meeting notice or agenda. The chair will interrupt and rule a citizen who violates any of these norms out of order. If ruled out of order by the chair, the person's opportunity to address the board will end immediately, and the microphone will be turned off. Finally, a citizen who violates these norms may be restricted from making public comments at future meetings. Thank you very much for your participation and courtesy. Sorry for the wait. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Joe Oberneter, live at 2601 Austin Place here in Beloit. I'm coming first as a parent. My message is kind of from a parent's perspective and also coach. I've been here teaching and coaching for 28 years. And, when you're involved with athletics and you go to the high school every day after teaching and you don't get to do that, it's hard. It's not only hard on the athletes, but it's also hard on us coaches. And so it's been a real struggle. And every day I read things in the paper of area teams and teams that are allowed to play, and they're making it happen. Now, there are times when they have to pause, but they make it happen. And, you hear the kids respond in the paper, and they say, they're just so grateful to be able to participate and get the chance. And so what we're just asking, and for our athletes, is to give them that opportunity that they deserve and that they want. We need to give our athletes hope, and to allow them to come to us and be able to impact their life in a positive way is important. And I'm quite sure that we have lost some student athletes that would be with us, and they're not going to come back to us. They're doing other things, good, bad, and different, but they're not coming back to us, and we can't make an impact on their life when they're not with us. I heard a quote from a famous coach, and he's actually a good friend. He said, we can't help the kids unless they're with us. And they're not with us. I mean, you can say that they're with us on the screen, but that's not how teaching and coaching is supposed to be. And that's not why we get into it. We get into it to have the personal eye-to-eye conversations and things that are able to help them. I have not read a single report in the 28 years that I've been teaching and coaching that has said that students' academics have gone down when they participate in sports. Not one. It's proven that when they're involved in athletics and something that means something to them, they are going to respond and they're going to do the things that they need to do to be successful. So if we're in favor of improving academic success, then I would hope that we're in favor of getting kids back to us and where they belong. Like I said, it's been really tough on everybody. And, I have a son that attends the high school, and every day he's asked me, Dad, when are we going to be able to do something? And it breaks my heart to not be able to tell him that we can do anything. And he's a junior, and I know we have some other coaches that might touch on this, but we're affecting their future. We are affecting their future because a lot of them do not have, the coaches that may be recruiting them, they don't see them competing. So they can't have that, those relationships and things going on. So we just need to get back to the mental health of everybody. And the last thing I want to say, my wife didn't want me to say this, but it's tough on the wives too. She's used to me going to the high school every day and not having her alone time. So that's another good reason why we need to get back with the kids. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. All right, do we want to go to the phone call then? Is there somebody waiting right now? Okay, so since nobody is waiting right now, Ms. Shope, is there an email that we could read? Would you like to go ahead with your email? Thank you.
The email is from Brenda Plakins. And she says, Dear school board members and Dr. Kieser, we all recognize the value of extracurricular activities and sports to the development of young people. Students learn new skills, develop leadership capabilities, experience the value of working as a team, and most importantly, have fun at school under the guidance of a trusted adult. I encourage the board to approve a reopening of schools and extracurricular activities. We have models in surrounding communities for how to do this safely, and a number of Beloit sports teams held practices this fall successfully. Unlike classroom teaching, which requires sitting in close quarters, extracurriculars can utilize smaller groups in larger or outside spaces that could limit virus transmission, but still allow for action. I understand that coaches and faculty sponsors would like an opportunity to work with their students and have plans to do so safely. It said to do that safely. School is not just about classroom instruction, and some of the most valuable learning happens in these informal spaces. the soccer pitch, the band room, the theater stage, the wood shop. I hope we can develop a plan to start gathering students for these beloved activities in a safe, in-person capacity. Thank you for considering my comments. Brenda Plakins, mother of 11th grader at BMHS, 8th grader at Frusen.
Thank you very much for that comment. Who is next here in person?
That would be Brian Deneau, and he has two people who have yielded time for him, and they are Jana Espinoza at 2289 Stayborn Drive. She is yielding her 3 minutes to Brian Deneau. And also Ashley Herford at 1325 10th Street in Beloit. She would like to yield her 3 minutes to Brian Deneau.
Thank you very much. So we can set the timer for 9 minutes or run it 3 times through. That is a good plan. All right, thank you very much. Go ahead, Brian.
Awesome, thank you. My name is Brian Deneau. I live at 2503 North Bootmaker Drive here in Beloit. First, I'd like to thank Jana and Ashley for giving me their 3 minutes. That's awesome. I did write my ideas out just because I tend to talk a lot, and I had to make sure I had everything in order. So I'm going to read to you what I wrote over the last few days. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this afternoon. On behalf of all the coaches and club advisors in our school district, I want to let you know how appreciative we are that you are taking the time to consider bringing back athletics and extracurricular activities for our young people. I come to this public forum today as a lifelong Beloiter who has had the absolute honor and privilege to work in our community as an educator for 19 years, including 16 of those years as a coach at various levels. I am also the proud parent of a Beloit Memorial student athlete and 3 future Beloit Memorial student athletes. I don't envy the position that all of you are in right now. Everyone in the world is overwhelmed and tired of hearing phrases such as extraordinary times and the new normal. Every group tasked with making a difficult decision will undoubtedly upset a significant portion of the population they serve. Many people seem to have become health experts overnight and have all the answers. The truth is, none of us have all the answers. We can only advocate for what we believe is the right thing at the right time. I believe that now is the time to start bringing our young people back to our buildings for athletics and extracurricular activities as initial steps in bringing back all of our students during term 4. Logistically, we have a plan established that will allow coaches and administration to monitor our students' health from the minute we interact with them on the practice or game field to the minute they get back in their vehicles and head home. Mr. Beard has developed a thorough plan that our coaching staffs are eager to implement. The WIA has established guidelines that all schools must adhere to. There is no stone unturned. We will follow a daily process that starts before the students athletes arrive at Beloit Memorial and continues throughout practices and games. We have plans about how bus rides would work. We have plans on how to screen visiting teams that enter our facilities on campus. There will certainly be adjustments that have to be made throughout our seasons, but we are determined to see this through and give our student athletes a safe environment to do what they love. We have seen others around us compete with success. Every school in Rock and Walworth counties are currently playing their winter sports seasons. Most Illinois schools, including those in Winnebago County just over the border, have been given the green light to bring back athletics for their student athletes. The models they are following are nearly identical to what we have planned. We are also very fortunate to have an outstanding athletic trainer on staff at Beloit Memorial. Mr. Pringle has worked throughout the pandemic at sporting events for surrounding high schools and will be an invaluable asset to us as questions arise and clarification about specific issues must be addressed. The social and emotional need to get our students back on stage or in the band room or on the football field is vitally important for their future success. I think back to my own experiences in high school where I was able to play soccer, basketball, and baseball while also taking part in choir and the school musical every year, and wonder how different my life would have been without these things. You see, I never had grandiose ideas of becoming a professional athlete, and if you've ever heard me sing, you would definitely attest to the fact that belting out tunes was not going to be something that happened beyond the walls of my high school. However, just like students at Beloit Memorial, I learned so much from having those experiences. Our students are missing out on developing lifelong relationships with their peers. They're missing out on understanding the importance of being a part of a team or a group and relying on one another. I fear that the isolation that many of our students are currently living in will impact the way that they will attack life in the future. I know that our young people are extremely resilient, but I can't help but think that a huge part of their lives have already been impacted and wonder what the long-term consequences will be for them. I will never forget the last day we had it with students in the building in March of 2020. I had the unenviable task of subbing during my prep in Mr. Wallendall's acting course. I normally love subbing during my prep time because I get the opportunity to meet students that I don't normally get to see, but this day was different. Mr. Wallendall was meeting with our building and district administration at that time, and it very quickly made its way through the student body that the production of The Addams Family was being postponed indefinitely. The students who were part of the production eventually all flocked to the stage in the theater, and the emotions that they had with them spilled out all over. As I quietly sat back and watched the anguish on their face and the disappointment in their eyes, I could tell that what they were feeling was less about not having the chance to show the world what they had been working on, and more about the real likelihood that the relationships they built together for months came crashing down so unexpectedly. That was a situation I hope to never have to face again. I would like nothing more than to see these young people have a chance to re-engage with their peers. Our athletic and extracurricular communities have always prided ourselves on helping our students stay motivated in the classroom and holding them accountable for their academics and behavior in and out of the school building. Each and every one of us here today has something in our lives that keeps us motivated, something that gives us that laser focus to help us achieve things in all aspects of our lives that we never imagined we could. For many of the students at Beloit Memorial High School, that motivation comes from being a part of the soccer team, or the jazz orchestra, or the student senate. I always think of these athletics and extracurricular activities as wonderful tools we have to open the doors to the academic world for our students, especially for those who academics don't come easily for. They might not be thrilled if they have to take another math or science class, but they know that they better sit in the front of that class, do the work the teacher is asking for, and be respectful, or they will feel the wrath of their coaches. Usually by the time it's all said and done, they can't believe that they ever doubted the importance of those classes, and we're grateful for the opportunity to become more knowledgeable. Unfortunately, right now, many of our student athletes are struggling to stay motivated in the classroom. They do not see the light at the end of the tunnel. For many, school isn't just the academic portion, it's everything else that goes along with it, including athletics and extracurricular activities. It's being part of something bigger than themselves. It's having a coaching staff or a group of peers encourage them to give their best on the field and in the classroom. It's having that built-in support system of those around you who are working towards a common goal. I'm afraid we run the risk of losing some of our young people permanently the longer we keep them away from athletics and extracurricular activities. There are some of my players who played for our program for the last few years that have stopped attending classes and don't participate in our weekly soccer Google meetings. Having a chance to participate this spring could change that. I also fear that there are potentially closing some doors that these activities provide our students beyond high school. Many of our student athletes are not able to participate in club sports for a variety of reasons. In the last 6 years, our soccer program has seen 14 student athletes continue playing at the collegiate level. Many of these kids never would have considered going to college if it was not for the chance to play soccer as well. Almost all of them are recruited to play by coaches who attended our games or were able to view film that we provided them after they reached out about a player. I understand that this doesn't necessarily relate to a huge number of our student athletes, but the thought of losing anyone because we aren't able to provide for them is truly heartbreaking. I know that coaching this year won't look exactly the same as it has in the past. I fully expect that there will be bumps in the roads and struggles that we will have to endure. However, I believe that we owe it to our students to give them the opportunity to participate in athletics and extracurricular activities. It is on us as a coaching community to make sure that we are providing a safe, respectful, and encouraging environment for our young people. We fully understand that there is some trepidation in taking the plunge and granting us permission to get back on the field. If I didn't think we could do this safely, I wouldn't be here today advocating for our reopening. I believe in the plan that has been established by Mr. Beard and the WIAA. I believe that we owe it to our students to get back out there after they missed out on nearly a year of doing the things they love. I believe that we need to do this for the social, emotional, and health and well-being of all of our students. I ask you today to trust the process that is being presented and be the group that helps to show our students that light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak today and for your dedication to doing what is the best for the school district of Beloit and the students and families that you represent. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that people were able to yield their comments for you. Do we have anybody waiting on the phone at this point?
No.
Nobody at this point. Okay, Ms. Shope, would you like to read an email if there's one? Okay, go ahead, please.
This email is from Jeffrey Prouse. This message in support of the full reopening of athletics and extracurricular activities is detailed in the plan provided by SDB administration. The board's approval will provide Beloit students with the opportunities that all students in our surrounding communities have, with the added benefit of one of the more rigorous safety plans available. The benefits of these activities are numerous. The positives from being able to participate include improved mental and physical health for our students. The future college prospects for many students are riding on these activities. The benefits to the health of this school district is nearly as significant. Athletics, music programs, theater programs, and many unique clubs are the face of school districts to the public. Each day without these activities has been a loss to the district, but not nearly the magnitude of loss the students have borne. Please accept the plan provided by Mr. Beard for immediate reopening of all activities/sports. It is my hope that this board provides an example of the unity that we stakeholders in the district are working for and pass this unanimously on this Tuesday evening. Thank you, Jeff Prouse, 2056 Cobblestone Court, Beloit.
Thank you very much for that comment. Who is next here in person?
It would be James Hoey.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is James Hoy. My address is 1045 Moore Street in Beloit. I've taught at Beloit Memorial for 15 years, and I coach both boys hockey and boys golf, and my son Alex is a senior this year at Beloit Memorial. I'm here today to encourage the school board to vote on Tuesday to allow athletics and extracurricular events to begin immediately. While this approval is too late for the boys hockey team to have a season, if sports and activities are allowed to begin immediately, it may still allow some of the other winter sports to at least have a very small part of their season, even if it's just practices. Fortunately for boys hockey, they've had an opportunity to play through the Beloit Youth Association. They've put together a high school age team for our guys, and most of the guys are playing on that team, and they've been playing since early December with no problems. They've never had to shut down because of an outbreak or anything like that. Unfortunately, though, many of the other winter athletes in Beloit have not had that type of opportunity. The basketball players, swimmers, wrestlers all deserve an opportunity to at least experience part of their season. I know there's some concerns about coming back during a pandemic, and especially when we're not in school for education at this time, but allowing sports and extracurricular activities to begin is a good first step towards getting that done. This will allow the staff to have a trial run with processes and procedures with smaller groups of students to hopefully work out any kinks in the system before the entire student body is back. Sports and extracurricular activities can be done safely. As I mentioned, the Beloit Youth Hockey Association has been up and running with youth teams playing since November. They have implemented a very strict safety plan to deal with the pandemic, and it has been very successful at keeping the kids and families safe. I believe on Tuesday night you will hear a plan for athletics and extracurricular activities from Athletic Director Joe Beard. He's done a great job working with the coaches here and other coaches to put together a plan to safely allow these activities to begin in our buildings. While most of us would have liked for this to happen earlier in the year, we are grateful that you are now considering allowing this to happen today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Ms. Shope, do we have anybody on the phone? Or Dr. Kieser? No? Okay, cool. Ms. Shope, do we have another email? All right, thank you, if you wouldn't mind.
My name is Becky Wong. I live at 2719 Sharon Drive. I am a spouse of a board member, a mom of 2 students at BMHS, a 13-year SDB volunteer, and currently a volunteer tutor with 2 community partners of the district who are attempting to assist kids with distance learning. I spend my days volunteering one-on-one with kids of all ages, helping them to navigate the disaster that distance learning is for many of them. The majority of kids I work with are minorities. I say that because I am not writing this letter just to represent my own kids in this matter. I would like to encourage the board to proceed with allowing athletics and extracurricular activities third quarter, assuming the plans presented on the 26th satisfy the need for safe practices and protocols for all involved. In 6 weeks, our Beloit kids will have been out of school for a solid calendar year. We need to give the kids and parents of the district hope and confidence that we are serious about transitioning back to school safely. The safest way to do that would be to start with something rather than continue to do nothing. Starting with a trial return of certain smaller groups would be a great way to prepare, implement, monitor, and adjust COVID-safe procedures. Please give our kids a chance to prove that they can do what is asked of them in order to be offered the privilege of having choices and opportunities. I think it is important to look at the numbers so that people can accurately assess the risks and make their own decisions. I am not downplaying the risk or severity of testing positive, being hospitalized, or dying from the disease. The percentage of people dying in the U.S., state of Wisconsin, and Rock County with respect to the total population of each is less than 0.15%, less than 0.15%. So over 99.85% of people are not dying of COVID-19. Of the roughly 7% of Americans who have tested positive for the virus, the vast majority have had zero symptoms or mild symptoms, and most are considered fully recovered. COVID is not going away anytime soon despite the vaccine. We need to learn to live with it and move forward responsibly and as safely as we can. Letting teams or clubs or small groups of kids who have earned the privilege of participating back into the buildings will greatly help the morale, mental health, behavior, physical health, and social emotional health of many of our kids. This should and would be organized with safety protocols strictly enforced. Certain teams or groups would be directed to certain areas of the building, which would allow for limited contact and ease of contact tracing notifications if needed. Making this decision to go forward with offering something to our students will certainly not reach all students, but at this point, some is better than none. It will hopefully help pave the way to being able to offer options to all students fourth quarter. If we wait until September, they will have been out of school for 18 months. There is a very large gray area between people not leaving the four walls of their homes for 10 months and people carrying on as if we are not in the midst of a pandemic.
I'm so sorry, Ms. Shope, but the time is up. But thank you very much for the comments. And Ms. Wong, if you'd like to forward the email to the board, we could email it again to public comment. I suppose. Well, I'm not sure how we could do that on Tuesday, but definitely to the board, and we could all finish reading your comments for sure.
Everything in public comment will be forwarded to the board after this.
Oh, perfect. Okay,
Yes.
so we can respond, and I apologize for the lack of time here. Okay, so who is next here in the crowd?
David Ramirez Jr.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is David Ramirez Jr. I reside at 2112 Roosevelt Avenue. That was a really good speech that you gave, and I really do believe that the fact is that the kids have to go back. Maybe not today, not just because it's Saturday, but the whole thing about it is that the whole planning to come back, we've wasted so much money in the past as a school board for legal fees, for other stuff. Like, have we looked at a planner, somebody that could come in and say, the third party, and say, these are the pros, these are the cons, it's gonna happen, let's make it work. Because as of right now, I just believe that everybody's just kind of throwing feelings and thoughts around. But the actual, like, sitting down and doing something about it, putting that plan together, and everybody in the community, right? You have coaches that are willing to help with all that. We have the resources between us. It's just figuring out what that is. I have 4 daughters, older, one's in Turner, 3 in our district. And right now they're in Wisconsin Dells playing softball. They haven't been able to play none of that in school. We're fortunate enough to be able to do that, and that's where they're at right now. 2 of them, one of them is student of the month. She's really good. The second one, same thing, all A's, maybe 1 B once in a while. The third one, she's sluggish, she doesn't get up, she has issues at the house. These kids that do this type of stuff, they need to get that out. A lot of them have that talent, but it's that need of them as a person to be able to do something. And when we take that away from them, what do you give them? How many kids are gonna fall in the cracks because we don't have a plan or we don't know what direction we're going in. How long is this gonna take? There's kids that don't have nothing to eat at home. We have a really good program with our lunch, but not everybody comes to grab a lunch. These kids are at home watching their parents sometimes do things that we wish they wouldn't have to see. And where are they at? They're at home. We think everybody's safer at home? Not everybody. And that's the other part to it too. So there's a lot of different things that we can throw around of why yes and why no. But man, as a community, we need to get together and figure it out as in the how, and figure out what we're gonna do in order to be able to come back. I'm not an athletic person, I've never been, but man, I want to be able to give my kids all the stuff that I didn't have. That's all I got to say for right now.
Thank you so much. Do we have anybody on the phone, Dr. Kieser? Okay, anybody in email, Ms. Shope? All right, thank you, please.
This email is from Jim Cronin, 1719 Emerson Street, Beloit, Wisconsin. Thank you to the Board of Education for taking the time out of your Saturday to listen to the community. It was clear after last week's regular marathon session board meeting that we have a huge divide in the district with regards to reopening the schools. I understand this meeting is to address the sports and activities. However, the divide within the community will more than likely be the same. If schools stay virtual, there is really no reason why athletics and activities could not be started. Athletes are already participating in sports at various club levels, and there have not been any incidents or proof that this is contributing to the spread of COVID-19. The choice by parents and students should be pretty simple. If you do not want to participate, don't. Stay home. It is your choice, and that is fine. However, forcing the kids in the district that want to compete in high school athletics and activities to stay on the sidelines because a few people feel it is unsafe is simply wrong. The athletes and parents know that there are risks and dangers in playing sports, or at least most sports. With 2 former high school athletes and 1 current athlete, we have had our share of bruises, torn ACLs, stress fractures, broken bones, and a couple surgeries, all due to sports at the high school level. Unfortunately, some of these will linger with my kids for a while. However, looking back, we would not have changed a thing. I guess we could have been good parents and kept our kids in a bubble, and none of these injuries would have happened. We also would have missed further educational opportunities for our kids as well, and lifelong experiences. As we look outside our district, our neighbors are all figuring out a way to allow their students a way to participate in sports and activities. The students at those districts, for the most part, won't need to explain to a college coach on a recruiting call why they are not playing varsity this year, or that they can't make all conference or all state, or have a chance at competing in state because their district opted to not have any sports of any kind. The district needs to stop kicking this can down the road and simply decide this week. The uncertainty of are we having sports or are we not simply needs to end. This way, kids can move on with plans for the rest of the winter and for the spring. Furthermore, if the decision is to not allow sports, then please exit all co-ops that we are the host of and let other districts run and manage these. Not only are we stopping Beloit kids from competing, we are stopping kids in other districts as well. We need to get our own house in order before we can manage someone else's. Along these lines, if sports and activities are shut down all year, then please work with the WIAA to allow our athletes to enroll in a district that has a plan for athletics and will allow competition. Thank you, Jim Cronin.
Thank you very much for your comments. Who is next here in the room?
I have Griffin Oberneter.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Griffin Oberneter. I live on 2601 Austin Place. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you for your time today on a Saturday. I am a student athlete who plays golf and football. I come here today to talk out of frustration throughout the year. We have not been able to access any of the athletic facilities at Beloit Memorial High School for the entire year now. I have already sat out my golf season last year and sat out my football season so far. I have seen many schools in Wisconsin play sports on time, and many schools around us are playing right now. It is very frustrating to see this, especially seeing some of my friends at Turner being able to play their sports seasons through the winter and will be playing sports going forward. I do not want to miss any more sports seasons, and it is very important for us to get our student athletes engaged. Having student athletes in the building will be a true test to see how we can be successful in returning back to in-person school. Thank you for your consideration in getting sports activities going.
Thank you so much for your comments, and thank you for joining us today. All right, nobody on the phone, Dr. Kieser? Okay, Ms. Shope, is there another email for us? Thank you.
My name is Scott Herman. I live at 742 Kenwood. I have 3 children at BMHS. My boys are freshmen and my daughter graduated early because of this board's lack of effort to return to the classroom. We have had a year to come up with a plan. I work with parents from Fort Atkinson to Roscoe and everywhere in between. Every one of these schools has made an effort to be in person in some way. Children in our district are struggling academically and emotionally, and this board is thinking about extracurricular activities. There is a reason they are called extra. I have heard the arguments that will help kids focus. What about the kids that are not in extracurriculars? We need to focus on all students' needs, not just a few. People from other districts hear what's going on here in Beloit and are equally as confused and disgusted as I am. Get it together and get the kids in the classroom. Thank you for your time. Scott Harmon.
Thank you very much for your comments. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the thing. All right, is there anybody, we still have folks in the boardroom that need to speak? No, okay. And nobody's on the phone? All right, Ms. Shope, would you like to read the next email? Thank you.
This email is from Mackay Horton. Hello, board. I am writing this email to really encourage you all to vote yes for us hardworking students to get back to our clubs, sports, and other activities. By voting yes, you are voting for us students to have something finally to look forward to. With us staying virtual for classes through 3rd term, you may hear people say we shouldn't go back to extracurriculars as well. But through my time in the district, I can't count how many times I have been told to stay off my phone and other devices and to go be physically active. So I'm hoping I will have the chance to leave my Zoom classes for a couple of hours a day to go play the sport I love, which is volleyball with my team. Extracurriculars are easily done safely with guidelines than having us all back in the school building at once. So I hope with the virtual option for us to have school during 3rd term does not affect your opinion on how extracurriculars should also be done. Thank you for having this time to hear my comment. Mackay Horton.
Thank you very much. It's always great to hear from students. Another email? You're okay.
Do not show any other additional emails.
Okay, so since it's only 2:45 and we gave time until 5, I'm going to ask us maybe for a brief recess. So if any folks here, I don't know if you want to hang out, you are absolutely welcome to. Do we want to, I guess we'll just kind of make an announcement if anybody is watching. If you would like to come here, we are not at capacity. There's still space for social distancing here at the Colac building. Anybody who is interested in submitting a comment via email, you can do so at public-comment at sdb for school district Beloit.k12.wi.us. We will all be here until at least 5 o'clock. We got started a little late, so maybe a bit after that as well. And if anybody wants to take the time to call the number that Dr. Kieser has been kind enough to share on the screen here, you can dial that in as well. So right now, I guess we will just pause until there are other comments. And if there are none, we will have a nice cozy hangout in kind of silent awkwardness until 5.
Thank you.
We're going to take a brief recess until 3 p.m. and at that point we will all be back and engaged and checking calls, emails, and to see if folks show up. Thank you. right, so it is 3 o'clock and we are checking, nobody is currently here at COLAC with us. Dr. Kieser does not have anybody waiting on the phone, and we are just verifying that no additional emails have been sent. So what I will say is if that continues, we'll probably just intermittently be kind of like open and then recess and then sort of open and recess. Dr. Kieser and Ms. Shope and I and our translators will be here until 5 either way. And board members who are tuning in, it is up to you if you would like to continue to participate. Or if you want, I can text you if we get somebody other comments. That's completely fine. I appreciate that you're here and that you want to be a part of this today. But I also know you probably don't want to sit in front of a computer for 2 hours with awkward silence. So just confirming with Ms. Shope, do we have any other emails that have been sent in? Okay, so since there are none at this time, we will continue to remain open and here physically at COLAC to wait for other participants. But board members Levy and Delgado, if you would like, we can communicate if other people participate. Otherwise, we're going to recess and then check in again in about another 15 minutes. Those of you watching from home, if you are just tuning in, we'll be checking back in about 15 minutes to see if other people show up here at COLAC and to see if people are have decided to call into the number that you can see on the screen or have decided to send email to the email address at the bottom of the screen, which I'll just read out loud again in case you're having issues seeing it. The email address is public-comment@sdb.k12.wi.us. The telephone number, in case you're having a hard time seeing, is area code 708-607-2760. The PIN number that you'll be asked to enter is 196914802, followed by the pound sign. All right, with that said, board members Levy and Delgado, we're going to recess again, and we'll check back at 3:15 for people who have thoughts to share. Thank you very much. All right, the time is now 3:15. We are checking back in from our previous recess. At this time, nobody has joined us here at the Colac Center. Dr. Kieser, do we have anybody waiting on the phone?
No one is on the phone.
All right, thank you. Ms. Shope, do we have anybody in email?
I have an email clarification from the last email that I read from the student.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, go right ahead, please.
Okay, so Mackay Horton wrote in again and said, I know you just heard from me, but I wanted to add on to what I said and go off of what I heard someone kind of say before me, and that was that these extracurriculars are one of the biggest faces for our district, and recently the Beloit Daily News hasn't had many good articles to post about our district as a whole, like it did back before we shut everything down almost a year ago now, and I think having our sports, clubs, theater, band, and other groups be able to showcase ourselves again to the public and show how hardworking students from this school district are committed to be some of the best in the area will set a statement to everyone and have our district looked at the right way and not as something we are not. Thanks again.
Thank you so much for those comments. And again, thanks to all of our students who have taken the time over the past several weeks to call in, to write in, and to show up and speak to us. It's really inspiring to see the participation from our kids. Anybody else? Oh, at this time, there are no other emails, phone calls, or folks here in public. So we are going to recess again until 3:30. If you are tuning in from home, you are more than welcome to call in, write in, or come in person. We're going to be here till a little after 5. The telephone number depicted on the screen that you can use to call in, and I should mention that we do have translators here available, is 1-708-607-2760. The PIN number that you can enter in if you have, that would come next is 196-914-802, followed by the pound sign. If you have a comment that you would like to write into us, you can use the email address at the bottom of the screen, which is public-comment@sdb.k12.wi.us. Thank you, and at this time we will recess until 3:30. perfect. Okay, welcome back. The time is 3:30 and we are now out of recess, and we are delighted that we have another person here at COLAC and another email. So at this time, I'm going to ask if you would like to come and speak. I didn't catch your name, so I apologize. But hi, Ken. If you want to come on up and speak for us here, that's great. And then after Mr. Johnson has his turn, we'll go to our email. Thank you.
That button there. Okay. Hi. So you are, there's 4 members of the board?
There.
Superintendent? Okay.
Yeah, this is Dr.
All right.
Sarah, Superintendent, and there are 6 total members, 2 additional who are tuned in remotely, and the rest who are,
they are.
going to watch. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm for opening the school, and I'm going to assume you guys have already got tons of information about whether it can be done safely, and a lot of school districts think it can. A lot of doctors and medical people think it can. I'm a dentist, by the way. I have some experience with infection control. We were doing that ever since whenever. And I don't think we need to dwell on whether it can be done safely. It's more about the fact that it needs to be done. And we've got kids that, they're not engaged in anything at all this year. They're doing a couple hours online, and then they're playing video games. And, I've got a couple of kids. They are musicians. We have one of the finest jazz programs in the entire country in Beloit. And my one son's a senior, and he's put in thousands of hours of practice, and senior year should have been a big year for him. And it's all been snatched away. Now, we just found out yesterday that essentially Ellington in New York that runs this, do you know it? Okay. They're going to be putting something together. And there are a lot of schools around the country that have had in-person, and they have been playing together. Our kids don't even know one another this year as musicians. They have not had any time as a group. You need to see your bandmates. You need to come to know them. You need to, they come together as a band, and every year, Mr. Behrens gets the new group to come together in such an amazing way, and they're worth supporting, okay? The other thing is, it's not, some students are deeply involved with school. There's quite a few of them that care a lot, and those are the ones I feel the worst about. There's a lot of kids out there that think this is awesome, that they don't have to go to school out there this year, but I think they're the exception and not the rule, and I know my kids would be really excited if they could start going to school. Even if it's not normal, it's not going to be obviously normal school right off the bat or anytime this year, I imagine, but there's so much that they would get from just being amongst other students. And you guys don't need to be lectured on the fact that school's not just about academics. It's not about geometry and history. These kids are learning how to be young adults. They're learning how to solve problems with one another, interact with one another, be citizens. And they're not getting that in their bedrooms this year. They're not getting any of it. So I really look at this, and also ironically, this is personal, I'm sorry, but we open enrolled our kids from the township into the city schools when they were in 5th grade because we wanted them to have access to better programs, AP classes, better equipment, more sports, more activities. Ironically, if they were still in Turner, they'd be going to school right now, and that's just a real kick in the pants to us. We really want the school open. My kids really want the school open. Every parent that I know wants the school open, and all the students do that I know. And I think it really boils down to this. The only real question that needs to be addressed here is, do we or do we not consider school essential?
And I'm sorry, is this a good time? Because we actually just ran over our 3 minutes.
Oh,
Nope,
I didn't
but-
realize.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. We do.
Well, that was my fundamental question.
But okay, no.
We haven't
thank
shut
you.
down essential services all over the country. School should be considered essential.
Thank you. And thank you so much for taking the time to come in to share your comments in the middle of the day. We appreciate it. Thank you for coming. All right, we have somebody, an email, Ms. Shope?
We do. The email is from Misty Burnett, 2347 South Nye School Road, Beloit. I realize everyone has their own opinions concerning safety due to COVID-19. I have a son at McNeil and a daughter at BMHS. My daughter is a freshman and is very involved in sports. I really hope you make the decision to let them participate. Some people like to say it's selfish that they want to continue to play during this time, but everyone is entitled to their own opinions and have the freedom to decide whether they want to take that risk. They are constantly watching people fight with each other over what is right, people calling into these meetings and criticizing each other's decisions, criticizing teachers, criticizing the board members, criticizing other parents and students. The kids deal daily with people on social media, judging each other, not knowing anyone's true situation, and they look around and people are working, shopping, eating out, going to the gym, taking vacations. My 15-year-old is trying to get a job to keep herself busy. It's fine for her to go out and work, but she can't go to school and play sports. The teachers have done a fine job with virtual learning, but it's just not the same. I'm not writing this email to judge anyone at the school or on the school board. Simply just pleading that you hear those of us whose voice seems not to matter when it comes to these decisions. I have waited and stayed with the district because I love the people, teachers, and coaches in the district. We live in Turner District, yet I stay and try to be patient and hope that you let them come back. Please just give the option, and those that want to participate can, and those who still don't want to don't have to. Thank you, Misty Burnett.
Thank you, and thank you so much for those comments. Do we have any other phone calls or emails at this time?
No phone calls.
Not at this time. So for those just tuning in, and thank you, Board Member Wong, for joining us. It is 3:36 at this time. It looks like we don't have anybody here at COLAC waiting to speak, and at this time there are no phone calls or emails. And so if you're just tuning in, we're going to recess. We're going to wait about 15 minutes, and then we'll check back in. We can check back in, maybe we'll just say like 10 to 4 at this point. But for those just tuning in, I want to remind you that you can show up here at COLAC, and we are here. We'll be here till a little bit after 5 today. You can certainly dial in at 1-708-607-2760. The PIN number that you'll enter then is 196-914-802, followed by the pound sign. Or if you'd like to email us some thoughts, you're more than welcome to do so using the email address below, which is public-comment@sdb.k12.wi.us. And then last thoughts before we recess, we do have people here who are available to translate if you need to send a message or call in a language other than English, particularly in Spanish, I think is what we're prepared for. Okay, thank you, and we will see you at 3:50, as 350.
Hey, Dr. Kaiser.
Hello.
Is this recorded so that, I apologize, I was working, but I was wondering if it's recorded whereby I can go back and review it.
Yep, that's okay.
Yes, this is being recorded and going live over there at the same time.
Great, thank you.
All right, it is now 3:50 and we are coming out of recess to address any emails, phone calls, or people who have arrived in person. At this time, there is nobody here to speak at COLAC, but I do believe we have an email. Ms. Shope, would you like to read?
Yes, the email is from Mr. Chris Behrens, the BMHS Music Department Chair. I would like to thank the Board of Education and Dr. Kieser for spending their Saturday afternoon listening to the community. I am writing on behalf of the Beloit Memorial High School Performing Arts Department. We feel that it is extremely important that students have the opportunity for a creative outlet like our performing ensembles or theatrical productions, especially now after a 10-month absence. Unfortunately, there are far too many students who have all but given up music due to a lack of motivation and not being able to sing and play in person. Having had many conversations with these students, I know that they hang on for the chance that we might be able to get back together soon. Virtual learning has also negatively impacted their other classes as well. Some students really need an outlet, whether it be music or athletics, to keep them motivated and on track with their studies. We would like for you to consider the reopening of athletic and extracurricular activities, which would include the performing arts. We already have a plan in place that was developed this fall that carefully follows the recommendations put forth by the University of Colorado Boulder, Minnesota University, and Maryland University aerosol studies that have shown with the proper PPE and distancing, the playing of musical instruments and singing can safely take place. I have personally been in contact with several music directors from across the country who have been having their performance ensembles meet safely since the fall while following these same guidelines. The same is being done in the Janesville and Hononegah school districts. Finally, another positive to having us meet, it would allow for small groups to assemble and practice the protocols and safety measures that would be in place for a hybrid school opening later this spring. Thank you for your time and consideration. Respectfully, Mr. Chris Behrens, Music Department Chair and Director of Bands, Beloit Memorial High School.
Thank you very much for taking the time to comment. All right, so at this time, it looks like there's nobody here in person still to give a comment. Dr. Kieser, do we have any phone calls?
No one waiting in the queue for the phone calls.
Okay, so there's no other phone calls at this time. Ms. Shope, is there another email? Okay, so I'll just take a pause and just want to thank everybody so far who has taken the time to come and join us in person and to email in. Your thoughts are really appreciated and are very important. The time is now 3:53. Since it looks like nobody is currently waiting to give a comment, we're going to go back into a recess at this time. And I guess we will come back in about 15 minutes at 4:10. If you have not had a chance to already do so, please feel free to come and join us here in person here at the COLAC building. You may also call in to provide a comment. The telephone number on the screen here is 1-708-607-2760. The PIN number is 196914802. Translation services are also available for phone and email, and if you are here in person. Finally, our email address, please consider emailing us at public-comment@sdb.k12.wi.us. Thank you, and just one last check. We have no phone calls or emails at this time? Okay, so we're going to go to our recess, and we will resume again at 4:10. Thank you very much. All right, we are just about to come out of recess here at about 4:10, and at this time, I'm just checking in with Ms. Shope and Dr. Kieser. At this time, there is nobody here present at COLAC wishing to speak or share any thoughts on athletics or extracurriculars. Ms. Shope, do we have any email? Okay, there's no email at this time. Dr. Kieser?
Currently, we do not have any phone calls in the queue.
Okay, we are getting ready though. If anybody has anything to share, I kind of feel like we should start a podcast because this is becoming a well-oiled machine here. But if community members wish to participate and share any thoughts on extracurricular or athletic reopening plans for the district, just a quick reminder, we have a board business meeting this Tuesday, January 26th, 7 o'clock, right? I believe it's 7 p.m. And our sole action item, as it stands currently on our agenda, is to hear from Joel Beard, our athletic director, and from Dr. Kieser about a reopening plan for athletics and extracurriculars. So if you are interested in weighing in tonight or today, this evening, on what our decision should be, please do so now. You will also have like a slightly shortened opportunity, but still an opportunity to weigh in again on Tuesday with some limitations that we'll discuss later. But at this time, we are open right here at COLAC if you would like to come and join us in person. You can also call in for public comment. The telephone number is 1-708-607-2760. The PIN number is 196-914-802, followed by the pound sign. You may also email us comments, and the address for that is public-comment@sdb.k12.wi.us. So just checking in. Ms. Shope, do we have any email at this time that's come in since? Dr. Kieser, do we have any phone calls?
No.
None at this time. Okay, so the time, we're going to round up and say it's 4:15. We are going to recess until 4:30, and we will check back in again. Thank you so much, and we hope to hear your thoughts if you have any to share with us. Okay, welcome back. We are coming out of recess. The time is now 4:30. We are fortunate to have a participant who's arrived here in person for us at COLAC. And before I invite her up to speak, I just want to check and see, Dr. Kieser, do we have anybody on the phone at this time?
Not at this time.
All right, thank you. Ms. Shope, are there other emails, or do you need a minute to check? No emails. Okay. So we're excited to hear our next comment. If you'd like to come up and just state your name and address, please. And then you have 3 minutes if you have the, okay.
Perfect. Can you hear me now? All right. I'm Kathy Churchill. I live at 1541 Highland in Beloit. And I'm for sports being back so that the teachers have somebody to look forward to them when they do go in person as kind of helping them enforce the mask rules. We have a lot of kids that missed out on scholarships. I don't have kids in winter sport. They're volleyball and golf, but I fell in love with a lot of kids that are in winter sports. And I really hate to see them not have an opportunity that everybody else around them is getting. So I don't know if all of us talking is gonna help. And it's not just about the athletes, the band, Key Club, all of those people would be great ambassadors for in-person. I don't know if that's a consideration, but I do think that it's very important to get them at least back in the gym, small group. They're mentored by their coach. These kids are failing. Their coaches are checking on them. It's hard enough for the teachers as it is. Their coaches have been amazing through all of this. So please take into consideration to let the kids go back in sports before more opportunities are missed. That's all.
Thank you so much for your comments, and thank you so much for driving out and taking the time to be with us today. Absolutely. No, of course, no, absolutely. Thank you for coming. Just checking in again, Dr. Kieser, do we have anybody on the phone at this time?
Not at this time.
All right, thank you so much. Ms. Shope, do we have any email? All right, since there are none at this time, I'll just remind anybody who is viewing that we are here. We're going to stay till a little bit after 5. We're excited to hear any other comments, questions, or thoughts that you may have to share about the subject of reopening for athletics and extracurriculars in person. Just a reminder for different ways that you can participate. We are physically here at COLAC. There are translators available if you need to speak in Spanish or have your comments read. We have a phone option and an email option that are also able to be translated. The telephone option can be accessed by dialing in at 1-708-607-2760. The PIN number is 196-914-802, followed by the pound sign. If you would like to email comments here, we will take email until just a little bit after 5 because we got started just a few minutes late. The email that you can use is public-comment@sdb.k12.wi.us. Just going to check in one more time before we recess. Are there any emails at this time, Ms. Schultz? Oh, we do have an email, so we're going to post. We're not going to recess at this time. And if you'd like to go ahead and read that for us, that would be great. Thank you.
This email is from Jennifer Yanchik, 1817 Oakwood Avenue. With a senior daughter whose greatest passion was soccer and a son who is a freshman at BMHS who has not been given the opportunity to experience everything BMHS has to offer. These activities help our children have a place where they feel they are part of a team or a club where they fit in. I support the return of extracurricular activities. As a family who has recently had COVID, I feel the risks of not having children involved in social activities, extracurricular, and sports is a much greater risk to our children's mental and physical health, the risk of getting the virus. Taking away these children's passions is not healthy for them. As always, this is something that is up to the parents, and if parents are not comfortable with their kids joining, that is their right, but I think it should be an option for the rest. COVID is not going anywhere. We need to learn how to deal with it as a school district and community. Opening extracurricular activities would be a great opportunity to evaluate what we have successfully implemented guidelines to ensure schools and activities safe for our children and everyone involved. As these students will already be following the new safety protocol, it will be an easier for them transition to in-person school for fourth term. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share those comments with us. At this time, there is nobody here present in Colac wishing to speak. Dr. Kieser, is there anybody on the phone?
Not at this time.
All right, thank you. Ms. Shope, are there other emails at this time? Okay, so then we're going to resume our plan to recess. The time is 4:36. Just to make sure that we have time to check in one more time, we're just going to take a little quick recess. We'll check back in at 4:45, and then that will give us an opportunity to check back in one more time before we adjourn for the evening. So if you have not yet had an opportunity to call or email or attend, there is still an opportunity to do so. So we're going to recess, and we'll see you at 4:45. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. The time is now 4:45 and we are coming out of our recess. Just a quick update. Nobody currently is present here at COLAC to offer any questions in person or thoughts in person. Dr. Kieser, are there phone calls at this time? Oh, sorry.
Not at this time.
Okay, sorry, I gotta watch my mask there. Thank you. Ms. Shope, are there any emails at this time? Okay, so since there are no comments at this time, but we did say we'd be available until 5, I'm going to read our information one more time. We'll recess, come back at 5 o'clock, give it until 5:05 since we got started a few minutes late, and then I think we'll adjourn for the evening. So if you are tuning in from home right now and you would like to offer your thoughts on reopening in person for athletics or extracurriculars, you are still welcome to come here at COLAC. We'll be here till about 5:15 or so. You are able to call in for public comment at 1-708-607-2760. The PIN number for that is 196-914-802 and then the pound key. Or you can email us at public-comment@sdb.k12.wi.us. We look forward to hearing from anybody who would like to share. Translation services are available. If you would like to come in person, call in or email. Thank you, and we will see you again at 5 o'clock for our last call for thoughts and questions on extracurriculars and athletics in person. All right, the time is 5 o'clock, and I'm happy to share that we do have some email to take a look at. So nobody is here in attendance at COLAC, and Ms. Shope, if you would please read our email.
The email says, it's from Kim Perez, Band Director at McNeil and Cunningham Intermediate Schools. Good afternoon. I would like to thank all of the community who have included band in the request to start activities back up. I teach band at McNeil and Cunningham Intermediate Schools and would love to get our students back in the building. Our intermediate performing arts students have dropped en masse this year. Band students thrive on the camaraderie of our discipline. Starting beginners when I can't see their faces and fingers at the same time and vice versa. Well, I can tell you they need to get in-person learning. In following the aforementioned aerosol studies in regard to wind instruments, I have many budget-friendly solutions to getting my students back to their band rooms. I have volunteered at both schools to be a test unit for protocols on re-entry procedures. Thank you for listening, and please get my groups back to making music soon. Respectfully, Kim Perez, Band Director, McNeil and Cunningham Intermediate Schools.
Thank you very much for reading that, and thank you so much for those comments. At this time, is there anybody on the phone?
Not at this time.
All right, Ms. Shope, are there other email? Okay, so seeing as how there is no more email, there are no more comments over the phone or here in person, I'm going to take this opportunity just to thank everybody who is involved, including our translators. Thanks so much for our district staff and Dr. Kieser for being available on Saturday to put this opportunity together for our community. Thank you so much to all community members who participated in any way. We really appreciate the feedback, and it helps us to make well-informed decisions. So at this time, I would like to adjourn our public hearing, and the time is 5:02 p.m. Thank you all, and we will look forward to seeing you on Tuesday, January 26th for our board business meeting beginning at 7 p.m. Thank you, and have a safe weekend. Okay. All right, okay.